Hello everyone, thanks for watching. Good to see all of you on a nice Thursday evening. Just finishing up my preparations to get ready to go. It's a nice evening here at Shaw Nature Reserve. It's about like 80 degrees. The sun is setting over there to my west. And we're gonna hike through the woods a little bit, see what kind of forest flowers we can see, and then we're gonna move up the hill to always check out those nice and amazing sunsets over the prairies at SNR. How's everyone doing tonight? Thanks for logging in. Go ahead and just give me a share of who's online and where you're coming from. It's always nice to know where folks are coming from. Trying to start my own watch party on my own private Facebook page. I'm kind of embarrassed to ask, but do you guys know how to do that? I can literally watch myself asking myself that question. We'll figure it out later. If anyone knows how to start a watch party, Highlands, Illinois, Imperial, Missouri, Pacific, Missouri. Welcome. Hi, Jennifer, Matt, and Steve. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. I'll do that later. All right. Hi, Barb. Watching from your... Nice. All right. So we're going to go start and head it off. We're going to go into the woods. Remember, you're always free to ask questions. I like to engage with those who are on these live hikes. If I don't know the answer, maybe somebody else who is in our chat knows the answer. So feel free to share your knowledge and your information about the natural world, because that's what we're doing here, right? We're building a community of like-minded individuals and those who love not only Shaw Nature Reserve, but also getting outside and enjoying the natural world as we see fit. So today we're gonna go hiking. Cam and Suli, good to see you. Ross, how we doing? Dale from St. Charles, MBG volunteer. All right, thanks very much. I'm gonna go ahead and turn you around so we can see what I see. All right, so here we go. So we're starting right here. So we are here at the Bascom House parking lot. All right, and we are going to head off onto this freshly cut trail that takes us into these lower woods here along the parking lot. And then we're gonna walk the road because there are a lot of flowering plants that can be found along the road. And then we're gonna make our way up the Prairie Trail, and we're gonna end up behind where the sod house used to be. So that'll be our trail today. Hi, Janet. Thanks for joining us today. So right away we come into the forest and we come to one of my favorite summer flowers. So this is American bellflower, or tall bellflower. I love the shape of this flower. Plus I really love the anthers. We can see them way out there, right by my thumb. Isn't that cute? All right, beautiful. So these are nice. Hi, Jesse. I'm glad to see you're on here as well. So let's keep heading off into the forest. You can see where they get their name, tall bellflower. Again, so here's my eye line at about 5'11", and then we just keep going up and up and up and up and up. So tall bellflower. Very common to see this time of year. And then another common species that we're gonna see looks similar to Black-Eyed Susan, has the yellow petals, has the black eye, but this is in fact, so this is Brown-Eyed Susan. It's a little bit smaller than Black-Eyed Susan, and the flower heads are a little more numerous on the individual plant. So get a kind of a reference. So there's the flower head the size of my thumb. I forgot my measuring stick, but we will go find the Black-Eyed Susan and compare it. So this is Brown-Eyed Susan, Rudbeckia triloba. Ooh, and another summer great is coming out, goldenrod. So too many people accuse this beautiful plant of causing their late summer allergies, but that's not the case. So goldenrod is pollinated, I guess. So insects are required to gather all of the nectar and pollen from the species. It's the ragweed that we got to worry about. But this just looks yellow in the field, so people blame this. We're sorry, we don't mean to falsely accuse you. So this is goldenrod. All right, let's keep heading off this way. Things are getting really tall and quote-unquote hairy here in the woodlands. It's getting to be late summer. August is right around the corner. It's very humid out. A lot of the singing insects are out this evening, and it makes a beautiful chorus of the natural world. So we have more of our goldenrod. If you can look really close, really small, beautiful flowers all in there. Then we have coneflower, echinacea, and then we have signs and evidence from one of our flower head decapitating weevils. So there's an insect that will essentially cut the stem of this plant, of this echinacea plant, effectively rendering its immune system obsolete, and then it lays its egg inside the flower head, and without the immune system to kill off that egg survives inside that head there, and then as the young is hatched, they then eat their way out of this flower head. So we'll see these quite often around the forest, especially on echinacea. So this is caused by an insect that decapitates this flower head on purpose. Then we have our tall Monarda fistulosa out here. Wonderful plant to see butterflies on. Very interesting flower shapes. So this is in the mint family, or the Lamiaceae. We know because it has its square stem. You can see as I turn it in my finger, you can almost see the edges. It has its opposite branching. And then as we come to the flower head, we see clusters of these flowers. So once we know it's a mint, we can take a leaf, crush it in our fingers, and smell. It smells like thyme or oregano. So let's keep moving on. Hi, John. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. So as much as we love Shaw Nature Reserve, I'm wondering if anybody else got out this week and ventured off to some other natural areas. If you did, go ahead and share that. And while we think about it, look what we found. Nice red and sticky. So nice red and sticky royal catchfly. So think of the name, royal catchfly. This plant is very sticky. I don't know if it actually catches flies, but you can see it stick to my finger. But beautiful red color. Hi, Liz. Thanks for joining us. So Here we are checking out royal catchfly in this forest, right below. So if we were to peek up over that ridge, the pavilions and the Bascom house would be right up there. More of our Rudbeckia triloba, or brown-eyed Susans. Again, we'll compare it eventually when I find a black-eyed Susan, but there's reference of my thumb. So let's go see if we can find a black-eyed Susan. Oof. Oop. All right, so here we have a wilting black-eyed Susan, but first I'll show you again. So here's our brown-eyed Susans, Rudbeckia triloba. Get a good measurement of my thumb. Sorry for the poor zoom. And over there, you can see the black-eyed Susan. So brown-eyed Susan, over to our black-eyed Susan. Just look at the difference in flower head size. So again, with black-eyed Susans, large petals, big black head, and a smaller number of flower heads per plant compared to its cousin brown-eyed Susan. Smaller flower, smaller number of petals, and more numerous flower heads per plant. It's nice and quiet here at the reserve, except for the singing insects and the occasional car that rise up and down Robertsville Road. Because right beyond, right where that sun is coming in from, that's where Robertsville Road is. Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for joining us today. Ooh. Just the beauty of the cone flowers and the Rudbeckia. And then it's accentuated in this very large bouquet with these creek oats, or sea oats, or river oats. Or whatever you want to call them, but these are just really cool. Let me zoom in on them. And we'll find these everywhere. So these are a very aggressive grower. They're great for landscape plants, but they will take over in your landscape if you're not careful. They are native, just very aggressive growers. And then we come to Prunus Seratina. So this is a common tree that we see at the nature reserve. So really dark gray bark, but if we look closely in the ridges of the bark, it's nice in this almost mahogany color, and sometimes you can even tear off a piece of the bark. Oh, and underneath has that kind of, darkish, brownish, orangish, mahogany looking color. And that's how, with the dark gray of the scales and the scaly shape of the bark, as we step back, an easy way to identify Prunus Seratina or black cherry. Just look at the darkness of the bark compared to the hickory to its right, and then the oak tree way in the back there. Just a much darker tree that we'll find in this forest. Really fantastic wood for carpentry, building, building cabinets or chest of drawers. Just has that wonderful cherry color to it. Very tall, straight tree. At the very top there are some cherries. The birds probably get them way before we will. It's been really humid here, where it's probably been very humid where you are as well. So there's a lot of water in the atmosphere, and these trees are able to open their stomas and grab some of that water. Most of their water, though, is coming from their roots. And when they gather so much of that water just like us, they eventually have to release it. So a lot of these plants, as it's cooling off and they're able to let go of that water, you know, as a plant, you wouldn't want to let go of water during the heat of the day. You want to store that. But now it's cooling off. They can kind of recycle some of that water. And as they release that water through transpiration, they also release some very fragrant chemicals. So in the forest here, has a wonderful sweet smell. A lot of these plants are releasing those terpenes. So those are the smells that you get when you're out here. The nature reserve in nature is literally plant exhaust. It just smells better than the exhaust that we're used to. Excuse me. Ooh. I mean, these are, the blue in the video doesn't really begin to, you know, describe that true blue color. They have almost radiating blue, but this is Scutalaria. It's another mint with the clustered flower heads, the opposite arranged leaves, and the square stem. Scutalaria, if anybody knows the Latin name to Scutalaria, well, Scutalaria, I think it's Scutalaria incantata or incarnata, if anybody can help me out. So Scutalaria, also a great landscape plant. I have this growing in the front of my house. Beautiful. Just look at those irregular shaped flowers, or called zygomorphic flowers. Most mints, I guess all mints, are zygomorphic. Just means they're not symmetrical. Take a step back, you can just see that blue popping out next to the yellow. And tucked way back in there is a little more Incana, thanks John. It's a little more royal catchfly, that nice red color. It's just peeking out there. We can look up over the hill, and the very edge over there you can see the pavilions all nice and lit up. Nice. So it's kind of hard to see in this video, but actually you can begin to see clumps growing on these plants. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I was told that these are in fact caused by insects. These are very similar to a gall. So we see them growing. This is, I believe this is more goldenrod. But we just see at the end, at the terminal part of this flower, the plant starts clumping. All right. So there's one there. There's one there. And they begin, when you look at it, they begin to look all over the place. And then every once in a while, they have a really cool shape to them. Like this one. Look at that. Nice. So it's just a deformed growth, I believe, caused by an insect, if I remembering what Dr. James Traeger told me. Really cool looking. You can begin to see them everywhere. So insects in this prairie are literally hacking the DNA sequences of these plants, creating these wonderful protective daycare and homes for their young. Again, some are just weird clumps like that. Others are beautiful pieces of artwork. Oh, nice. Today was a good day to be at Shaw. It wasn't too hot. Too hot is relative, I guess, because it was still about 92 degrees with almost 90% humidity. It was a good day to be at Shaw. Just look at the colors of the sun bouncing off the trees that are still here in this reconstructed prairie. Just giant pine trees. So if we take that trail, that will take us up to the Bascom House, which you can see peeking out from there, or over to the pavilions. But we are going to head this way. We're going to go down towards the road. And if you listen carefully, there's a little green frog off to my left, which means that there's water. Ooh. So downhill this prairie, there's this little aquatic system tucked away with these beautiful aquatic plants that are very giant. They're very tall. You can see them over there. I believe these are called Thalia, T-H-A-L-A. Has a nice pink and a nice purple flower head to them. Nice. Nice place to come and reflect and meditate as long as you can handle the bug bites. But we'll move on. So this is just right down the hill from the Bascom House. Ooh, I thought I smelled something minty. So here we have mountain mint. Nice white clumped flower heads. Again, square stem, oppositely arranged leaves. Take some of this, crush it in your fingers and give it a good smell. This is very minty. It smells delicious. Nice little wake me up. All right, I will also be here tomorrow, as all of you will be. I will be here Friday and then next Monday. Maybe I'll see you out on the trails. That might be, oh. All right, so we're down here to the Trail House Loop Road. And so we'll just walk this for a little ways. On this side of me, this is known as the Imls Woodlands. It's an acronym that I forget what the acronym stands for. But this area is a research site that both researchers from the Missouri Botanical Garden and from all over the world are coming down here and doing research in this woodlands. Not only to investigate what species are here, which species might be of concern that we want to bring back to restore, but also studying our restoration efforts here. So there's a great bunch of research that's happening right here at Shaw Nature Reserve, right here at the Imls Woodlands. So that's off to your right as you're driving down the trail loop road. Ooh, and here's more Scutalaria incana. Oh, nope. From a distance, I couldn't tell the color, but this is actually American bellflower. And there's so much of it. Again, one of my favorite flowers. And that beautiful purple tucked in there with that yellow really gets a great color scheme here in the evenings at the Nature Reserve. And then we have Redbud. Onward. All right, so this is where I might need some help from you plant ID specialists out there. A beautiful purple flower. I saw this morning. Ooh, let me zoom out. It's on the tip of my tongue now. Just looking at those cornucopia-shaped flower heads. As I'm thinking about it, if anybody else knows and can beat me to it, let me know. Sorry, it's not zooming very well. There we go. So if you can help us with the name of this plant. The cornucopia larkspur, that's it, John. That was on the tip of my tongue. Thank you for that, John. And then we have come down here to the leaf shape. Really interesting leaf shape. And we look down the stem, it's nice and smooth and round. And we can see that the leaves, as we get this, there we go. The leaves are alternately arranged. There's one by my finger there, and we have to go up the stem for the next one. Nice and smooth stem, alternately arranged, lobed leaves, going into this cornucopia formed flower, larkspur. I guess we could say, John, based on the height, that thing was about 5 feet tall. So maybe tall larkspur, but again, we'll have to just check in a book to see. It was growing on the edge of a forest, down in a little wet area, and it's also almost the beginning of August. So those are the things we're gonna look at, everyone else. All right, and over here to my left, one of our other reconstructed prairies. We have a lot of Culver's root growing up in here. That's what Culver's root looks like. The root was used to heal a lot of ailments in the early pioneers and early Americans. Really interesting flower. And then the leaves are in what we call a whorl pattern, W-H-O-R-L. You can see how they come off of the single plane of the stem, but in this nice whorled pattern. And then very heavily serrated, little like the knife serrations. Beautiful. So I want us all to imagine and remember that this prairie, the one we're looking at here with this beautiful green and this mix of Ratibia, which is this yellow flower, and then we have Queen Anne's lace, and we have a lot of Culver's root in there. Starting to see some tick seed growing up. Liatris is in there. And all these singing insects. We must remember that this prairie was burned, and the landscape here February through March was nothing but burnt desolation. So when you come out to Shaw Nature Reserve during the winter and you see those burns happening and you wonder why we're doing that, this is the end result. And this is just almost, this is not yet to its full potential, this prairie, especially even this year. Many, many years will be more diverse. Hear a lot more singing insects, a lot more forbs or flowering species. But even right now, this is still going to grow probably 2 to 3 more feet by the end of the summer. And just imagine that all this was just black, burnt, ashy in early March. So when you see those, don't be alarmed because, right, the phoenix emerges through the fire, or I forget what the saying is, but our management strategy is working through our fire and through our prescribed burns. We're reducing the number of invasive species. We're returning a lot of the dead debris from the past season's prairies back into the system. And then we're removing any kind of shady competition for these young prairie plants. But look at that. Oh, gray-headed coneflower, or Ratibia pinnata. Hi, Midge. Thanks for joining us today. Here's another plant that I could use some help IDing. So I do know this is a Rudbeckia. So that's its leaf, and it's a pretty tall plant. And then it has a small little flower at the top. I know it's in the Rudbeckia genus, but I'm not sure what the species is. So it's nice and tall. Again, there are the leaves of this species. Palmata, thanks. This is why it's good to have someone like John with us. Again, building these communities and having people who are very knowledgeable just continues to share knowledge and share what these sights and sounds are all about. So thanks, John. In the woods over there, we heard pileated woodpecker. Oh. Oh, there it goes. Oh, bye. This time of night, there's a lot of rabbits that come out. Once the cars kind of calm down, the people kind of leave, rabbits begin to come out. They're really just hiding right along the edges of this prairie here. Ooh. And then we come to one of our plants in the Silphium family. So looking at the leaves, again, so this is compass plant. Compass plant has a very hairy stem, and then it comes up into these really tall yellow flowers that typically face the sun. Oh, now we're gonna get the sun's behind us, so you're not gonna really see the yellow very much. There, beautiful. It is kind of being competed with this grapevine here. So again, grapevine is native to this area, but you can see how it can be an issue when it begins to vine on these other native plant species. So we back away, we can see that the Silphium or compass plant is one of the tallest plants that we'll see here in the prairie. Gray-headed coneflower is not far behind though. And then we have a cottonwood. This is a cottonwood tree trying to grow here. You can do it, but I think the fire is going to take you out. So enjoy it and just begin to see the beautiful colors of the sun bouncing off the clouds in the sky. So John and Ross, here's this, here we go again, just for as we're looking up, it has, so it's oppositely arranged. It's a smooth stem. Oh man, so here are the lower leaves. In this nice shape here. And then the flower head. Ross, you might be onto something. It does have those little indents or those little edges of the, like tick seed, at the very ends of their floor, what are these called? Petals. It has those little notches. So maybe a Coreopsis. Good. Maybe that's a good idea, Lori. I do have a microphone that I can bring out. Just a sneak peek of my upcoming what is it called? ASMR. Ooh. A lot of our goldenrod is almost ready. Either tomorrow or the next day, this whole field of goldenrod will just be popping yellow. So we kind of come down the hill. So up there again is the pavilions, and as the water flows or sheds down this hillside, we're making our way to Brush Creek. So we're going to see the plant communities change. And already, as we can see from our reconstructed prairie, we're going to move beyond the deer fence. So this deer fence is to keep deer on that side of the nature reserve, because that side of the nature reserve is our collections area with our Whitmire wildflower garden. So be kind and don't let this door slam. Just go ahead and be nice and close it. That way it reduces our yearly maintenance. And then we get into our grove of pawpaw trees. Let's see if we can't find some pawpaws today. It might be a little early still. Pawpaws don't really get ready until like the end of August. And then you have to chase or have to compete with the wildlife. If Sue Lee is still watching, this was our time last year where we constantly were looking for pawpaws. So it's so thick and dense in here of pawpaws, it's going to be difficult to find them. But we'll keep looking. All right, let's check this grove over here. Oh, there's some. So there's a couple pawpaws hanging on right there. Still pretty little, but these will be delicious fruits if we can get to them before the animals do. And so the best way that I usually figure out if these are ready to go or not, I'll just grab the tree somewhere and give it a little shake. And if they fall off, then they're ready. But those are still hanging on. Those still have need some time to grow and become delicious. So pawpaw, Asimina triloba. And fun fact, this is our state fruit tree of Missouri. Asimina triloba, or the pawpaw. I don't know if any of you else earlier this week dealt with a raging storm, a big old thunderstorm with heavy winds that rolled through your area. But Shaw Nature Reserve definitely got caught up in one of those heavy wind gusts. It's quite amazing what the power of wind can do to the landscape. So as we come up to this bridge was inaccessible on Monday. And as we can see coming through here, it was almost like this windstorm just ripped through Brush Creek, really tearing off, tearing off this small tree here. That big old oak tree got ripped off there. I'm way in the back. There's just tree after tree after tree that was just down and destroyed by this heavy winds that rolled through here. And the worst part of it is up here even. Coming around this corner, you can see we had a major oak tree just get, as if it was a twig and you were snapping a twig, this wind came through, just destroyed that oak tree over there. You can see that those two oak trees were taken out. Really bad storm that was through here. So you can just see the destruction of this, what's that? I think it's like another little oak tree, or a big oak tree. But so this is what happens in the natural world, right? So things change. Things are always in flux. So mass disturbances roll through here, like wind tearing out trees. And then, we had to come through and clear it out. But normally those trees would fall over, opening up this whole area to the next generation of plants that can that survive and that move on and then begin to dominate this area. But just the sheer destruction of that windstorm. Whew. But I think our restoration ecologist will be happy, because this is another one of our reconstructed prairies, and eventually he was going to get rid of these trees, so This just moved a little faster for him. All right, so what time is it? It's about 8 o'clock. So our friend Drew here is driving by, just making sure everything's okay at the nature reserve, wearing his mask. Say hi, Drew.
Hi, Drew.
Okay, see ya.
I was wondering if that was you.
That was me and my guest of Sights and Sounds Trail Series people.
This is some serious crap.
It is. Don't forget, you're on Facebook Live, so.
Oh, that's why I said
Okay. All right.
Did you look up the creek then?
I did, yeah, we checked it out. Just mass destruction. All right, see you, Drew. All right. All right, so a little cameo from Drew, who's our safety and security supervisor here at Shaw Nature Reserve. So we will head up this trail here. I'll show you on the map where we are. Oh, good thing the map wasn't taken down. All right, here we go. So we started over here at the Bascom House parking lot. We meandered through this forest here. We kind of followed this open area down to the Trail House Loop Road. Followed the loop road just past the bridge, and now we're going to take this dotted trail here that goes up through our reconstructed prairie and will drop us off right here at Brush Creek Trail. Let's go check that out. I always like heading up hills towards the end of these hikes, just because it's the best view of the sun, the sunset. But it's setting faster here, so we'll move a little quicker. You can hear the bob white quail in this direction. It goes bob white. Over here off to my right, we have our Liatris species, one of our blazing stars. This is not in full bloom yet, but nice conical shape. There's another group of them starting to explode of that purple flower. We're starting to see this time of year the green seed pods of our indigo. So these are fresh and they're still new. When these dry out, they turn brown and they pop open. But before they pop open, they make this really interesting rattling sound in the prairies. So if you're a pioneer coming across the prairie and you heard this ominous rattling ahead of you. Unbeknownst to them, it was simply this plant here with its seeds inside rattling in the wind. But to them, it was some kind of spirit found in the prairie. Hi, Gayla. Ooh. There's a barn owl back there somewhere. Just staying this far back because you can see the yellow or the white flower heads. But also, you can see the green of the prairie grass kind of melds into this yellowish green. Very easy to identify. Again, that's mountain mint. So that yellowish green color compared to the green of the background is a good way to identify mountain mint. That and their white flower heads. I also want to send a big shout out to those of you who host watch parties for these Sights and Sounds Trail Series hikes. I really appreciate it. That way we can spread the joy and enjoyment of Shaw Nature Reserve to more than just this group page. So if those of you who have watch parties going, thank you very much. And those who are watching via those watch parties, thank you for joining me today here in Gray Summit, Missouri at Shaw Nature Reserve. Ooh. Up here on my right, it looks similar to the mountain mint, but upon closer inspection, realize these look like tiny golf balls. So these are in fact the seed or the flower heads of Euringium yuccifolium or rattlesnake master. But these are in fact its flowers, and if you look really closely, you can see the stamen sticking out there. Almost like the Epcot Center at Walt Disney World. But all these here and all of those, rattlesnake master. Really, really cool plants. Many, many uses. Thanks, John. Common yellowthroat. If anybody else can hear a bird call that they recognize, please go ahead and share it with the group. If you can see what time it is too, that always is helpful to say at like, I don't know, 30 minutes and 45 seconds, I heard a blank. So that helps for those who are watching after. But we hear all of these beautiful singing insects, and I was just reading the Missouri Conservationist, which is a great publication. And I was reading in one of these highly diverse prairie ecosystems, not here at the reserve, but one of the conservation areas, they found over 700 species, individual species, not just individuals, but total species, over 700 in a highly diverse prairie. So that's what we're aiming for, over 700 species of insect. So we can kind of turn us around and see the view from behind me. Oop. As the sun begins to set over those Ozark Hills. Here's another one of our Silphium family members. So this is Rosin Weed. It's the name of this individual, with a bunch of Little black insects hanging out. So we look down the stem, we see that this silphium is oppositely arranged. And like all silphium, if we feel the leaves, they are very coarse. Feel like sandpaper. So silphium. So silphium also, if we look at the bracts, or the little green parts that cover the flower when it's young, they're more like these wide, where my thumb is, these wide triangle shapes. We can look at another one. So here's one of the flower that has not come out yet. And we can see those really wide triangle shapes. We'll go look at another silphium and see if it's the same. Zoom. So this is rosin weed. Ooh. And then one of our tallest grasses that we'll find here is our big blue stem, aptly named for its color. This nice little, looks, I don't know, it's not that blue, but big, this is called big blue stem. Its cousin is back there, actually. That's little blue stem. It's really interesting. Has these nice little hairs growing out on it. See that? It grows at every one of these joints here. Yeah, John, they look, that and ashy sunflower look similar. But I think ashy sunflower, its leaves kind of open up and flatten a little more. I know they do stick up like that, but that was definitely rosin weed. And it looks, and I think that one definitely was a little more brown or green, where that ashy sunflower has that little more ashy look to it. But it's always nice to be checked. I thank you for that. Look, evidence of human beings. I mean, at least they're being responsible. All right, make sure to have this just in case maybe it fell out of someone's first aid kit. Oh, John, I heard about you. So I'm well aware. Actually, I think you responded to me once, saying that you enjoy sharing your knowledge. So I'm all about it. All right, and here we are. Not at the, this is probably the tippy top of where we're gonna be here, but just look at these beautiful Ozark hills rolling through here. So remember, we are on the edge of the Ozark Plateau. To the north of us is the Missouri River, and that's kind of where the Ozark Plateau ends. So this extends all the way down south into Missouri, into Arkansas. And these were once mountains here, the Ozarks. The oldest mountain range in North America is under our feet. It's so old that it's already been broken down, chipped away, and reduced to nothing more than what we know now as the Ozark Hills. Ooh, all right. So we have ironweed, nice purple flower, another great plant to see a lot of butterflies on. And then here we have our Monarda fistulosa that has finished flowering for the year. So this is what a bald, it does look bald, right? You know, as you get older, sometimes you lose your hair. But the youngins over here, they still got all their flowers, still providing that pollen and looking to be pollinated. And then here we have already pollinated Monarda. And again, beautiful, wonderful smell and tasting leaf. Just crush it in your fingers and give it a smell. Mmm, yummy. I don't know if I can capture it, but there's the moon. Oh, my finger's in the way. All right. Nice crescent moon. And so it's interesting that where the sun is the same direction that the moon is lit. If you can see me, I'm doing the whole like stroking my fake beard. Interesting. So the moon is just a reflection of the sun's light. So that is a waxing crescent, meaning that is just after the phase of a new moon. So waxing crescent. All right, and if you are a longtime Shaw Nature Reserve enthusiast, this is where the sod house used to be. It was destroyed in a storm, as well as many years of breaking down. So if you can remember, where I'm standing, inside the sod house was all sod. And so it's only taken about 2.5 months for the sod to come back, for all this grass and greenery to come back. So I think there are plans in the works for something new. I just don't know, I'm not privy to that information. But again, just a beautiful, look at those blues and purples and oranges. So, like many institutions, we are kind of, here at Shaw Nature Reserve, we are reckoning with our desire to share and educate and express and celebrate the cultures that came here before us. So looking at this teepee, while it is a very common sight when you think of Native Americans, we have to remember that not all Native Americans lived in teepees. The Native Americans that lived in this region did not live in teepees. This was more of a plains teepee, but as you can see, are a plains Indian Native American house. But as you can see all around us, there are plenty of forest. And so the Native Americans that lived here would reside here permanently because there was plenty of deer, there was plenty of buffalo that roamed these woods. Yep, woodland buffaloes. So we're really rethinking about how we want to celebrate and how we want to share the experiences and the lives of the Native peoples that lived here in Gray Summit, Missouri, what is now Gray Summit, Missouri. And just think about our role in sharing their story. So that's why we don't have the, it's one of the reasons why we don't have the cover up on this teepee. That and we just don't have the manpower right now. So we're really starting to focus on that. And again, this is a fantastic design for Native peoples that needed to be on the move, but the Native peoples who lived here were not those that needed to move, because again, they had all of this resource available to them. So it is getting darker. It is about 8:30. I'll kind of just walk down the hill and let you listen to the natural world. All right, everyone. So it's about 8:32. I want to say thank you for joining me this evening for another dusk hike at Shaw Nature Reserve. Come out to the Nature Reserve, bring your friends and your family, get your tickets online. There's so much beauty and wonder to be found out here at the Nature Reserve. I hope sooner than later I can invite you all out to do an in-person hikes again. I always love doing those, but I do love doing these. But I do, if I don't have those hikes going on, I do hopefully hope to see you on the trail. I might just run into you. If you recognize me, just call out my name. I would love to stop and say hello and chit chat for a little bit. I will be wearing a mask. So that's my hat and sunglasses. This is what my eyes look like. So yeah, I hope to see you out here at Shaw Nature Reserve. Have a fantastic night, and spend some time outdoors enjoying the sights and sounds of the Nature Reserve, but also where you are. Have a great one. Take care.